the playoffs about winning games that maybe you shouldn't win. I'm wondering what your thoughts are on winning games that are incredibly tense and incredibly tight and tied going to the third period and overtime like we've seen you guys play a lot of.
Yeah, well, fortunately, I don't think we've had to do that so much this playoffs. There's been the odd game where maybe we haven't deserved a win, but most of them I think we have. And yeah, it's obviously, that's the playoffs for you. Usually it's going to be tied going in to a third period, and you just got to dig that one goal out. Unfortunately, Dallas did it in game 2, so it's up to us to respond, and it's up to us to make sure we end up on the right side here in game 3.
Third row on the right, Tony.
Morning, Connor. We believe that Adam Henrique will be back into the lineup tonight. Since he was acquired 2.5 months ago, what are some of the areas of the game that he touches that has helped his team the most?
Yeah, he touches a lot of aspects of our game. Penalty kill, obviously even strength, face-offs, he helps a lot. Definitely somebody that we've missed.
Mattias, leading up to today, when it comes to your group, what are some of the lessons throughout the course of the season that's allowed you guys to practice discipline on defense so effectively so far in this series?
I think the whole mindset of not getting too high, not getting too low with it. I think sometimes it's like you can play perfect defense, but there's such a skilled players in the playoffs. Sometimes you just can't defend, but it's all about the response, and you can't let it just sit and think about it too much. I feel like we've done a good job of turning pages whether it comes to in games or between games or whatever it is. You're going to get scored on in the playoffs. That's just a fact. But it's all about how you respond to it and how you adjust to it, not wavering too much from your plan. And I think that's something that we've done a decent job of so far.
Second row on the left.
Connor, in game 2, they made an adjustment. They put Heiskanen and Lindell together against you a lot more. Now you're at home. Have you noticed when you're on home ice, does Kris, not that he chased or you're trying to shelter you by any stretch, but every team's looking for a slight advantage in a matchup. Do you notice that in game when there's maybe a better matchup that's favorable for you, and do you see it more at home?
It's a team like Dallas. I mean, what matchup are you really looking for? They got 4 lines that can play. They got, 60 men that can play. What matchup are you really looking for? So, I think icings every now and then we get an extra shift maybe offensively, but yeah, I don't think that we're matchup chasing.
Center left, Ryan.
Connor, they did a good job in the last game of getting sticks in lanes and blocking shots and those sorts of things. What adjustments can you make in those sort of shooting moments to try and find that extra space to get through?
Yeah, I mean, just being a little bit cleaner with the puck. There was definitely opportunities to make plays or whatever, and they got their stick in the way or shooting lanes, whatever. I mean, they block a lot of shots as well. So maybe a little extra move or something here and there, but I think just being cleaner with the puck overall is a focus.
Center right, Josh.
Mattias, I'm just wondering how the challenge that the Stars forwards present, the way they blow the zone sometimes, and how cognizant you guys have to be on the back end, and how that might affect, your ability to go forward at different times as a defenseman.
Yeah, it's a bit different from the teams we've seen, but on the flip side of it too, sometimes those rims doesn't get out, and if you can just read that a little bit, you can cut your route short. And I mean, I almost had a goal in game 1. I hit the crossbar with it when that was the exact play they're trying to blow out, and Evan knocked it down, and then we can turn and go the other way. So it works both ways. It's obviously when the rims are clean every time, it's a little bit annoying. You have to go back all the time, but at the same time, when you can read those plays and you can read a bobbled puck, or if some of the demon that actually are rimming it are in a position to maybe not get forward on it, you can try to look to beat your guy, and it could be a pretty good gap to your forward. He can be blowing it and be in our blue line, and I can be up the ice instead. So it goes both ways. I mean, I don't think there's any system that's perfect or any move that's perfect out there. So I get what they're trying to do, but you also got to try to read through it.
We'll take one more, second row on the left.
Mattias, you talk about at the start of the series, you guys wanted to limit their chances off the rush. And through 2 games, it's 16-3 in favor of you. What have you liked about your group collectively, and why you've been successful in limiting scoring chances off the rush?
I think it's just getting your boots moving. I think our forwards have done a great job coming back. That's usually the biggest killer, right? Like if you have your third guy high and they're coming back, it's way easier for us as D-men to kill the rush. It's way easier for us as a team to deny it. So I think as a group we've done a good job, but I think it starts with the forwards really back checking hard, and I think that's been really good so far through 2 games.
One last one, front left, Mark.
But Connor, you got a guy in Corey Perry who hasn't been playing, and you know he came here. We all know what he brings. He's played in all the big games. Now you're playing big games. Can you still get? Is the team still get some of Corey Perry even though he's not on the ice? Can he still be Corey Perry if he's not dressing every night?
Well, just because guys aren't playing doesn't mean that they're not big pieces in the room. You know, we got guys that haven't really played many games. I think of a guy like Gags, Sam Gagne, hasn't played barely, at all. But he's a big part of that room. Pears has been the same way, the last couple of weeks. So just because guys maybe aren't in the lineup doesn't take away what they do for our room.
Do we think Henrique's in? And if so, who might be out?
Adam will be playing tonight. Ryan McLeod will be not.
So we all get how much you like Ryan's game, and he's a young player, and it's not easy to take a guy out. Do you see this as sort of the same reset you gave Stu Skinner? And I guess talk to us about taking a kid like that out of your lineup.
Absolutely, it's a reset. Clowder's going to be part of this team. Whether he comes in the next game or following, we're going to see him sooner than later. There's a lot to like about his game. A lot of it is from the penalty kill. He's been contributing a lot there with his quickness, his reads. 5-on-5 hasn't been playing quite like he had been, especially in the middle part of the season. In January, February was probably the top performance. Yeah, I think it's important that he has just a little reset. We've got a lot of players that are playing well, and it's been difficult to take anybody out of the lineup, whether that's been Corey Perry, Connor Brown, Sam Carrick. We have depth. We've got a lot of good players that are healthy that can help us win, and right now he won't play tonight.
Center left, Ryan.
Just in terms of Henrique, waiting for him to be healthy enough to play, so what has that been like? Because I know he's been close, and maybe a decision has had to be made, for a game or two here. And maybe just a thought on you are losing some speed out of your lineup here, and it's been a pretty fast series, so I imagine you had to think a lot about that too.
Well, when Adam was available, felt that he was 100%, then we want him in the lineup. He's a very important player for us. He can kill penalties, he can be on the power play, and he's a really good 5-on-5 player. And there's games where we could have put him in. I would say he was very close, maybe not 100%, but I'm sure if it was the Stanley Cup Final Game 7, we would have had him in earlier than we are putting him tonight. But I think with his experience, his smarts, that he'll help us tonight.
Second row on the left.
Kris, is that the only lineup change tonight?
That is the only lineup change.
The matchup game for you, now you have a last change. We saw Dallas alter it a bit what they wanted in their matchups. Do you foresee, something where you will search for as we get deeper in the playoffs? You haven't really ever chased a matchup, but even for a few shifts, do you think now's the time? Do you hone in more on a matchup?
It all depends on the game or how the game's going. I think it's important for our guys that we have that flow. We have the 4 lines contributing, and we're not chasing a certain lineup. And there's certain situations, face-off location and possibly who they have out there, whether it's their forward line or the defensive line. But I don't think it's something that we're going to chase too much.
Third row on the right.
Kris, Dallas is 5-1 on the road in the playoffs. Are you seeing anything from them during their road games in the playoffs that's allowing them to be that successful? And do you see anything that you have to do to counter that?
No, I haven't seen any change from their home games to their road games. I think it's usually about the Edmonton Oilers. What can we bring? What we can be better at going from game to game. And, there's some things that we didn't like about Game 2 and things that we can maybe adjust and get a little bit better at. That's our focus.
Stay in the same row, Tony.
Good morning, Chris. I just asked Mattias Ekholm what he likes most about the team defense and the discipline that's needed to execute the way you guys have been in the opening 2 games. I want to ask you, he talked about the response, specifically when the team gets scored on. I ask you as a head coach, what do you like about your team's response? What do you like about the chatter that happens after your team gets scored on, or no chatter at all? What do you like most?
I think we've done a pretty good job of responding no matter what happens. And, obviously there's frustration when you get scored against or whenever there's a bad play or whatever it is. But I really like how our guys are able to put it behind them and just focus on the next shift. Because whatever happens in the past obviously has no effect on what's going to happen in the future. And we are in our position, and we just have to make sure that we're ready for the next play. And, I think our guys have done a pretty good job of that. So, and with the pressure of the playoffs, there's a lot at stake. But, I think they've handled that adversity, that stress, those pressures very well. And we've continued to play pretty good hockey.
Last one, third row on the right.
Just one more for me, Chris. Last game, or in the first period, you guys came out, created a lot of opportunities offensively. Did you see anything in that period that you can bottle and take into this game?
No, I liked their energy. I thought we moved the puck really quickly and really competitive to win puck battles. And, you are playing fast, competitive. You put yourself in a pretty good position to make some plays. And, we need that effort, that mentality going into Game 3 and throughout the rest of the series. It's just part of what we need to do to be successful.
Certainly looking forward to getting back in the lineup, and then just wanting to be able to try and be a difference maker for the team.
What do you look at when you come in to kind of like jumping on a speeding train to pace the playoffs? What do you need to do early in that game to feel comfortable?
I think just those first few shifts, you want to just kind of get back into the rhythm, the flow of the game. You come out, play a simple, hard game, and just get involved right away. And then I think that from there you just settle in. It's like riding a bike. Just get back on there and go. So been looking forward to getting back in the lineup for a little bit.
Adam, can you take us through the mental hurdles you've had to endure throughout this injury process? Of course, you tried getting in the second round series, didn't really work out. Maybe just take us through that and what you've kind of learned about yourself.
Yeah, it's I guess it was just a day-to-day kind of thing, mentally too. I think mentally probably harder than physically with certain things, and just not being able to be out there to help. It's more nerve-wracking watching than playing, and certainly learned a lot about that. So, but watching the guys, seeing everybody kind of come together and push through and battle, it was certainly great to watch and see the team continue to get better. And you're just itching to be a part of that. So it's nice to finally be here.
Adam, for someone to go in, somebody has to come out. What do you say to a teammate like Ryan, who's maybe had some struggles, but?
Well, I think this time of year, it's the big picture thing everybody looks at. And I think everybody understands that. Everybody goes through ups and downs, and you just have to, I think, have that big picture mentality. And everybody's going to be called upon at some time or the other, and everybody expects the other guy to be able to step up. And whoever's in or out of the lineup, I think we have all the confidence in every single guy here.
You look at the third line we're going to be on, just the need to kind of generate some offense from that line. It's kind of, regardless of who's played there, it's been the one line that hasn't been able to find some consistency. How do you help that out?
Well, my game, it doesn't really change. It stays the same where we're playing third line or up or off center or wing or whatever it may be. So, hopefully we can just have some chemistry right off the bat. I think for us as a group or as a line, play a hard, simple game. Get up and down the ice, try to use our speed and use what we have to be effective and to try and be difference makers.
Adam, what have you liked from your group so far?
Yeah, I think everybody's been involved. It's been a team effort. Seeing the guys stick together that first game and go through overtime and find a way to come out there with that one. Dallas is a great team. They had the push back in game 2, but I think as a group, our game's where we want it to be, and we just have to continue to find ways to find wins.
Can you get a sense for the feel and the rhythm of a series from the outside, or do you have to go through your own feeling out process tonight?
I think a bit of both. I think jumping in the lineup, you'd find your own way and find where you can have a difference and be a difference maker. I think watching up top, it is a different point of view, I guess. Things tend to slow down up top, and you can see a lot of things and see a lot of plays, but. Dallas defends well. They've been that type of team all year. So it's, it's certainly nerve-wracking watching, and it's going to be nice to be back on the ice.